Man, like Martin to Smoove.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. How you
Very-
how are you coping with lockdown? The busiest guy I've ever met in my life has to
Ah,
stay in his flat for weeks on end.
you know what? I don't mind it. I'm sleeping a lot, um, and I'm just enjoying not doing much. I'm doing a few streams here and there, stuff that I like, but it's all right. There's no pressure. I'm like 2021. I'm pretty much booked for the first 6 months, so I'm not stressing too much. Like you can't. Why worry about things you can't control? You know what I mean?
That's true. I was
How are you?
watching.
How are you coping?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just keeping myself busy. I've actually,
Yeah, I see the TikToks and stuff.
yeah, we'll keep that quiet. I've actually probably got the best body clock I've ever had for about 15
What, so
years.
you're getting up like at 7 a.m. and stuff?
Like every morning, I'm up at like 8 o'clock, sleeping by
No way.
1 a.m. I swear, it's so good.
And when are you going to bed? Like 1 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I'm going to bed like at 6, Murdy, and I'm waking up at 1 p.m. And everyone's like, April's looking at me like a waste man. Everyone's anyone who's trying to get hold of me in the morning, and they just won't get a response till about 1:15. Yeah,
You need
it's
to
not
just
good.
try and
I'm sleeping.
get
Huh?
up early one morning and then you'll be tired the next night and try and just
It's
get in a bit
easier
of
said
routine.
than done. It's easier said than done. I think, do you know, when you have a missus, because they always tend to go to bed at a good time and get up at a good time, it kind of forces you to do the same thing. I
Yeah.
think if I wasn't married, I would probably get up like 11, 11:30, 12 most days, I think, because I'd go to bed at 5 every day, I think. But
I
yeah.
was watching
Uh,
the Kanye channel the other day that you were on.
oh, it was wicked. I love Kanye's one. And yeah, what did you think? Are you a Kanye fan?
Uh, I'm a Kanye fan, no to the extent of you. You're like his biggest ever fan. But
Yeah, yeah, I love him. I love him. I love Chance. Like on my Spotify playlist, you know, at the end of the year, that gives you the rundown of all the artists that you listen to. What were your top
well,
four?
I use Apple, but I seen everybody else was sharing theirs. But I use
Yeah, yeah.
Apple. We didn't get those stats on Apple.
So, is there any artist in particular that you'd say that you could just say you had to do a 2 hour set, and it had to be his one artist or his features, his hits, his anything that's to do with that artist? What would it be? It'd be Drake, wouldn't it?
Drake or Chris Brown would be the easiest, but none of them are my favourite. J. Cole's my favourite by a distance.
Yeah. J. Cole's amazing. But the
I
thing,
love
you can't do that in a club.
I love to wind your pal
Rob
Rob up
Hoff.
about that because he hates him. Oh, I don't know if he hates him, but he doesn't rate him anyway.
Yeah, I used to not like him, but then I really get it. I forced myself to listening to him, and like lyrically, he's amazing, man. He
Yeah.
speaks for like the current generation of hip hop fans, which I like. But yeah, man. So what else is good?
Not a lot. So I just wanted to get you on really. We just launched this new channel and wanted to kind of speak about your journey through DJing and stuff. So going right back to the start, I believe you were born in India but raised in Essex. If my
Yeah. My parents, like, I've got 2 older brothers. My oldest brother was born in India, and my middle brother was born over here. Then, when my mum was pregnant, she decided to have me over there because she'd get more help. When she was younger, she'd get more help over there. And my dad was working a lot here, so it just made sense. So, up until I was maybe about 6 months old, I lived over there.
yeah,
So, yeah. And then moved over here, raised in Essex. But not like the same part of Essex as, say, like The Only Way is Essex. It's not far from there, but I didn't really ever have any friends that were in part of that sort of scene. So yeah, I don't really consider myself a true Essex person, even though that is my home.
right, okay. And how early did you have like a proper interest in music? Were you quite young? Have you always been?
I've always loved music. It's probably the same for any DJ like yourself. I remember when I was like maybe 5 or 6, and my parents would always make me dance in parties with their parents, with other people's parents, to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was probably my first real entry into music. And then entry into hip hop would have been something like stuff that my brother used to listen to, or even like Will Smith or something like that. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. So then you went to university to study economics, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, I did economics at uni. I don't know why I did that. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that. It wasn't like I was any good at it at school. I think I did it to shut my parents up. I should have done something music related or something more creative, but did economics for 3 years, and yeah, it was horrible, man. Those 3 years, the actual course was really tough. I remember going to an exam once, thinking, "Am I in the right exam?" Because it looked like a foreign language to me. Like it was an econometrics. Can't even say it, an econometrics exam, and I look at it and I just don't know. I don't know how I got through, man. Must have someone must have liked me, but yeah.
So how did the DJing journey start then? Was that when you were at uni?
Sorry, you broke up there a bit. What did you say?
Sorry, when did the DJ journey begin? Was that in your uni days?
So at college, where I met my friend Sav, I'd always be collecting records and vinyl and music, CDs, everything around that time, because I just liked it. And I started DJing, learning how to DJ before uni, so in sixth form. And then at uni, I thought, you know what? There's a university radio station here. I'm going to start a show, a hip-hop show and an R&B show, and I'm going to throw my own club night. And within the first year of uni, I did that. And then it just started snowballing. Like in the second year of uni, I warmed up with like Trevor Nelson, warmed up for him quite a few times at unis for up and down the country because his agent used me a little bit. Met a guy called Hanif, who I worked with from when I graduated uni till now. And just doing my own parties and DJing a lot, and then started to bring up a little bit of a following at university.
So do you think that's why you were struggling at the economics then?
I think even if I studied all hours of the day and went to every lecture and every tutorial, I still wouldn't have got a 2-1. Well, I got a 2-2, but yeah, there's no way. Economics just wasn't for me, man.
No. So
no. I mean, I understand the basics of it, but yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm an economist. Yeah.
So you finish university, and are you purely just thinking then you wanted to be involved in music? You wanted to be a DJ?
Oh yeah, 100%. You know what it's like when you DJ at a club night and it's amazing. You want that moment to be continued, and you want to keep doing stuff like that. Like throwing my own party was amazing. You pack it out and you think, oh, good, I can make some money here. And I always wanted to be involved in music full time. So after uni, whether it was promoting or DJing, I wanted to be involved in it. So after uni, Hanif offered me a job working on the student night that he ran. It's a night called Milkshake, and it was kind of just starting out around then. And I worked for him 2 or 3 days a week, and then 2 days a week I interned at Atlantic Records, which is like the home of where at the time T.I. was signed there, Trey Songz, who else? At the moment, like Bruno Mars is signed to Atlantic Records. It's a big label. I was an intern, so I worked at the basement of that office in Kensington, which isn't actually that far away from where I live now. And I used to love it. I used to send out records. Back then, you couldn't download music. You weren't downloading music at the time. You'd be getting sent records and CDs from the record label. So you'd be on a mailing list. So all the DJs like yourself, anyone that is doing stuff regionally. So if you're playing at big parties in Edinburgh or Aberdeen or Cardiff or Manchester, they will know about you and they'll send you records. So there'll be about 100 records that will get sent out to DJs. And then, so I'd get the list, and every day I'd have to send them out to people. And I'd always get to listen to music first. And I was kind of just doing my own thing at the bottom. It was in the basement. There was no windows, no light. It was a dingy little room, and it was messy. It was loads of records and free like T-shirts and stuff that record labels used to give out back then. And yeah, I loved it. It was a good time. Shout to Matchstick and Mel, and who else did I work for? Jamie at the time at Atlantic Records, yeah.
So had you moved to London by this point then?
No, I used to travel from Essex. It's not that far. It's probably the equivalent of, say, Livingston to Edinburgh or something like that. So it'd be like an hour journey for me to get to, an hour and 10, 15 minutes to get to Atlantic. And then I'd come home and then I'd go back out and DJ. So that'd be another hour. I'd be spending a lot of time back and forth from Essex to London each day. So, but it was fun, man. You know what? When you're like 21 and you're hungry and you want to do it, nothing's ever too much. But it wasn't for me anyway. I just wanted to be involved.
And what were your parents' opinions on this then? What were their views?
You know what? Their views on me DJing, they're like Catholic Indian parents that are all about education and professional jobs. So they weren't too keen. But I think even now, after this pandemic, my dad for the first time goes, well, so now you're unemployed now? And I'm like, yeah, until the clubs and stuff reopened, Dad. But no, they don't really give me too much grief. They obviously weren't fond of me doing it, but I think they knew that I had enough sort of savvy and hustle to kind of make it work.
Yeah. So obviously you mentioned that you were warming up for Trevor back in your uni days, and you're still obviously close with him now. He DJ'd at your wedding, like you've made that relationship for so long. And he's such a big figure, like, in music.
Oh man, without doubt. I think Trevor is the benchmark of how to act as a DJ, as a figure in music. Like he's not changed, man. He's a gentleman. He's great at what he does. He's genuine. His love for music is like super high, and his knowledge for music is super high. And even back then, when I first started working for him, he was huge as a club DJ, man. Like he doesn't do that many clubs now. He just picks and chooses what he wants. But yeah, man, all relationships are genuine, man. Like I'm not there to try and create a fake relationship. Everything that's happened has happened organically. And I've always, like, there's a story that you said at the wedding, like when I was 16 and I was getting records from like HMV and stuff like that, I went outside Radio 1, which is near my college at the time, and I got him to sign a record. And then a few years later, when I was at uni, I started working with him, but I didn't want to tell him that story. And I only told him that story at the wedding, and then he used that on the first time. Yeah, no, it's cool. And like I said, man, if you're genuine and these things happen organically, it's always going to work out.
So where did things go from there then? You were doing Milkshake, obviously a couple other nights. How did things kind of spiral from there to becoming London's best DJ?
How did it all happen? No, do you know what? There's no big break. I've never had like one moment where I thought, oh yeah, it's going to happen. Like just continuous like little steps in the right direction. But there have been like loads of tough times. Like I remember I've never been, when I came out of uni, all I wanted to do is be a broadcaster. I wanted to be on like One Extra. I wanted to be a presenter, but it just never worked out. And like, I think that what's right for you will never miss you. So like, maybe that wasn't right. It wasn't right for me to be a radio presenter. I don't know. But like, it's just continuous little steps in the right direction that's always happened. I was really frustrated at one point. Like I didn't want to be a promoter, like I was just saying, and I didn't want to do it. And at the time there was no one really that could replace what I was doing, because we needed to find someone that was really wanted to be a promoter. And then luckily, towards the end of my time of doing it promoting Milkshake full time, a guy called Louis came along, and if it weren't for Louis, I don't know where I'd be, man. Like I'd probably still be flying university halls. So yeah, man, big up Louis, because he's given me an opportunity to concentrate on DJing, which I'm forever grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So when did it all come together with becoming Eve's tour DJ? Because obviously that's, well, potentially your biggest kind of involvement.
Yeah, it's a huge thing, man. Like, so I told you I worked for Atlantic Records, and the person who my direct boss was a guy called DJ Matchstick. He's got a show on Kiss Fresh every Sunday at the moment, and he was my boss at the time. And then, so about 4 or 5 years later, in 2012, he calls me going, because I've just been DJing for a local artist called Cleo Soul. She was signed to Island Records. We used to we did a Mobo tour. Every time she needed to do a performance, I'd be her DJ. And then she stopped for a while. And now she's currently making music again, and she just dropped an album a month ago, and did like a big track with Little Sims earlier in the year. But yeah, she's so talented. And then so she stopped making music for a while, and then Matchstick calls me up and goes, "Look, I've got an American artist that needs a DJ." I don't think I was the first person he called, actually. I think I was the second. So I said, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'm free." He didn't tell me who the artist was. And then he goes, "Look, meet me at this place." And at the place where he told me to meet him was somewhere I interned on my university holidays. It was it's like a radio studio where back in the day when like people like 50 Cent would come to town, they'd get all the pirate radio DJs to come and do 15 minutes to interview him at this one studio rather than having to travel around everywhere. So that studio is where I used to work. I used to make teas and give the artists their lunch and get their dinner orders and stuff like that. That's what I used to do. So I met Matchstick and there, and he goes, "All right, so the artist is Eve. You're going to go in there and meet her." And I went in there, met her, and she's just so cool, man. Obviously, I was really nervous because like it's fucking Eve, and it's the first time I met her. But she's just like she always is, man. Super down to earth, super nice.
Did you have any idea it was going to be somebody as big as her? When you were going in, were you thinking it was going to be did you think it was going to be some kind of unknown artist or?
Do you know what? I thought it could be big because it was an American artist. It was in 2012. Was it 2012? 2013. It's happened. And I thought, oh, okay, so it might be someone big. But I didn't think it would be anything long term because I thought, oh, maybe it's just some artist that's just come for a month and doing a couple of performances and he or she didn't bring a DJ. So I thought I'll just fill in for the month. And then it was 2 dates on the weekend. It was my birthday weekend, actually. One date was for Love Dough in Camden, and we did the show. It was fine. It was easy. And then the next show was a big show. It was at GAY, but it was to celebrate the launch of her album, Lip Lock. And so we did a rehearsal in the morning on Saturday morning, and we went through everything. And then in the evening, I got the track order all messed up. Like I dropped the wrong track at the wrong time. And the crowd would never have known what's happened because she's such a pro. She just carried on like a rock star. But I could tell, she gave me a look and I thought, oh, fuck, I messed up. And then I thought, at the end of the gig, I went up to her in the green room. I said, oh, sorry about that. She goes, that's totally cool. It's fine. She's just classy, man. She's just a classy artist and a classy person. And she just said, oh, it's totally cool. But then after that gig, I thought, oh, that was it, man. That's probably the last time I get to DJ for her. Well, at least I got to do it once or twice. And then a few weeks later, she called me for a gig, like 2 days before we had to fly out to go to Beirut. And then ever since then, she's been using me and I've not really messed up. And I'm very, very grateful, man. She could have any DJ in the world to DJ for her. And she's just, I'm lucky.
That last tour that you were doing, obviously you posted a few videos on your Instagram, like looked amazing.
The history one.
Yeah,
man, that was wicked. That's your sort of music as well. Like,
my vibe,
yeah, man, it was wicked. It was full of like people that want to hear nostalgic music, and it was full of women like from the ages of like 17 to about 30 that just like that sort of era of music. And yeah, it was wicked, man. And she owns the stage, man. I've got an easy job. Yeah.
So did you get involved in Gumball through her? Obviously, her husband being Max. Is that how that came about?
Yeah, everyone thinks that I got involved with working with Eve was because I worked at Gumball first. But no, I met Max, who is the CEO and creator and the boss man at Gumball through Eve. So it's actually through Eve. And like after a few shows, he started giving me some Gumball clothes to wear on stage. I used to, like with most things, man, if I like something, I'll wear it. And I used to love their brand. I still love their brand. It's like a mixture between like skater and hip hop and streetwear. So it's perfect for me. And I used to wear it a lot, and he used to notice that. And then started working with him, did a Gumball party, then did a Gumball rally with Charlesy, and then me and Andy started doing it every year, which is it's fun. It's so much fun doing it with Andy as well, man. It's just like you're with your mate, you're traveling to a different city every day, throwing down a party. and then it's tiring, but it's great.
So for anybody that doesn't know about gumball, how does it operate a gumball?
Gumball is a rally that takes place every year. You travel 3,000 miles in your car for 7 days. Last year, it was from Mykonos to Ibiza. The year before, it was from London to Tokyo. And you're probably wondering, it's a lot longer than 3,000 miles, London to Tokyo. You go from London to Paris, Paris to Milan, Milan to Bologna, and then they fly all the cars in one private jet and all the drivers in another private jet. You pick your car up in Japan, you travel another 1,500 miles throughout Japan and end up in Tokyo. It's sick. And each night, they normally have a party or some sort of function, and we normally DJ'd it. But me and Andy haven't driven the rally because it's quite exhausting, because we'd always be the first people in the club and normally the last people in the club, because we'd be warming up for people like Afrojack or Usher or someone like that. So we'd be the first in and last out. So by the time we get back to our hotel and then have to start the cars the next day, we wouldn't have much sleep. So we fly between the destinations.
Yeah. And they've launched some cool caps and stuff as well recently.
Yeah, I was going to wear my hat today, actually, but I've been wearing it on every stream, so I just thought, you know what, I'll try. I've done a hat with them last year, with the, and it went pretty well. It sold out in like 2 days, and then we're going to do another one. We were going to do it for May when this year's rally was taking place, but obviously with this COVID corona situation, we've had to push it back a little bit. But I think with that in mind, I'm really keen on doing it where we can donate the profits or something to a charity or something like that for this year's one.
Yeah. So you mentioned the likes of Afrojack and Usher. I mean, what's it like hanging about with these guys?
Man, it's crazy. Like some of the people that you meet, like that are stars, end up being your friends, man. Like, because you're in, you know what it's like when you get introduced to someone by a good friend of yours, you're automatically going to think, if he's friends with my good friend, he must be a good person. So your barriers are slightly lower, aren't you? It's not like some random you met in the street. So that's like that with Gumball. So like if you're on the Gumball rally, you're obviously someone, your barriers are a lot lower and you're more willing to talk to people. So you build some really great relationships on that rally, man. Yeah, it's wicked. Like I call someone like Dallas Austin, who's a major record producer in the States, a friend now, or Bun B, a rapper, a good friend now, and yeah, you get to meet.
You
cool
probably
people.
take it for granted a wee bit how, you know, if DJs like myself or majority of DJs probably would love to be in these kind of positions, or even to meet somebody like Usher, like proper legends of the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do take it for granted. The only time I take it for granted is when I'm tired, maybe, and I think, but then I have to snap out of it, and I'm thinking, like, I'm going to Gumball rally here, or, I'm going to be playing in the main room at Ministry of Sound, man. Just get over yourself. Like, do you know how lucky you are? That's the only time, really. Like, even this morning, like in my Instagram, so there's a baseball player called Ken Griffey Jr. He does the rally. He's probably one of the best baseball players of all time. He's like the equivalent of maybe Michael Jordan in baseball, and he DM'd me on my Instagram, so because he does a rally, and like even then I thought, shit, man, that's a message from Ken Griffey Jr. Like I don't ever take it for granted. I still sometimes get shocked when certain people text me and like, oh shit, like so yeah. It doesn't ever become normal, because you know what it's like, man. Like this is a good example. Like we went on, did a couple of dates in Switzerland, and we took a private jet to and from the gig. And like, no matter how good it looks online, I still took a tube from the airport to my home. So it's not like I get on a private jet, but I took a tube there and back. So like, I never take it for granted, man, or ever get used to. I could ever get used to it.
And talking about these kind of big names and stuff, obviously away for the kind of club gigs and stuff, you do a lot of private events for people such as Barack Obama, Piers Morgan, U2, to name a couple. Like that.
Yeah, man, I was really lucky.
Kind of pressure altogether.
Massively, but it's wicked as well. It's like my first party I did was for this PR guy's 50th birthday, and it was this. It's all in that same 2013 year where I got started working with Eve. I met April, who's now my wife. That same week, I worked for Eve. Started working for Eve. It was the first week I met April. So like, yeah, that happened in the same week. And then this party I had no idea what it was for. And Ministry of Sound sent me there, and they go, before you go, you have to sign an NDA. And I had no idea what an NDA is. An NDA, for those that are listening, is a non-disclosure agreement where you're not allowed to discuss what's going on in the parties on social media and stuff like that. So I had no idea. I thought there'd be like some Big Brother celebrities there or something like that. So I signed it. I'd worked at night time DJing in the day, and then I rolled up there with my friend Sam. So we went in there, and they go, "Oh, you might as well sit down in the artist green room." We sat down there, and someone came in and goes, "You're on after the next artist." I go, "Oh, cool. Who's the next artist?" He goes, "It's Bono and Bob Geldof." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Can we go out and watch?" He goes, "Yeah, of course." So me and my mate Sav went out there and watched. And I was looking at it on stage, and like, there's loads of people like Elton John, Davina McCall, they're all helping. They were doing a sing along for the person whose birthday it was. And I look around at Sav, and he's talking to someone, and someone's looking, and the person he's talking to is like looking at his tie, going, "Oh, nice." And then I look at him, and it was Tony Blair, and I'll never
imagine what Sav and Tony Blair are going to have a conversation about.
Yeah, God knows, but they seem to be getting on like a house on fire. Yeah, and throughout that night, there was just like every A-lister from the UK was at that party, and because that party went really well, like these people started using me a lot more, and I enjoy it, man. Like, and to be honest, they're just like anyone else. They just want to have a good time and not get bothered. Like, you'll never see me try and take a selfie. You never see me talking about it on social media. I won't ever talk about any details. I just want them to have a good time and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, it must be quite difficult to do that, to be fair, when you're in that kind of company. But
yeah, yes, I think there'll be certain people. Like, I think if I met someone like Pharrell or something like that, I'd probably wait to the end and go, "Look, do you reckon I could get a picture?" Like I did it with Ian Wright at Piers' party. Like, I'm a big Arsenal fan, so
yeah.
And Ian Wright is such a legend. He was just totally cool about it.
What's Piers Morgan like? I mean, everybody has this persona, obviously on TV, but what's he like?
As a person, he is a gentleman, man. Like, such a good guy. And like, I've seen him. Like, he doesn't live too far from me, and I've seen him at a market recently. And he's just a really nice guy, and like, he's genuine, man. Like, whatever people say, like, you may not agree with all the things that he says, and I don't always, but I respect him because he says it and he stands by his decision. And like, throughout this coronavirus pandemic, he's been like really putting the pressure on the government, and like, he's become a bit of a hero for it, man. But I've only got good things and nice things to say about Piers.
Yeah, he's been going in big time.
Yeah, massively. I wouldn't want to be up against him. Yeah, man.
I remember we touched on obviously meeting April there. I actually can remember the night when I met her after work in town, and we went for a bite to eat, and she told me, she was like, "I'm going to be moving to London. Like, I've met this guy."
Oh.
And I was like, "Oh," like we were really good friends at that point. So I was like, "Oh," I was obviously a bit gutted he's going to move to London and that. So I'm like, "So tell me about this guy. Like, what does he do?" "Oh, he's a DJ." And I'm thinking, like, I said, "I'm a DJ. Who's this guy in London who's a DJ?" Do you know what I mean? And then I do a bit of research, and I'm like, "Whoa, this guy is a DJ."
No. And do you know what? Ironically, forget what anyone else says. Do you know who my wife's favourite DJ is? It's you. She doesn't care about any of the mixes I do. When I'm in the flat and she's got the Sonos on, it's your mixes she's listening to.
I was actually trying to teach her at one point,
Huh?
I was actually trying to teach her at one point.
She would smash it as a DJ, I think. And you know what? If she came back, I think we're planning, because she'd been stuck up in Scotland for lockdown. I think if she came back, and now that we've both got a lot of spare time, especially me, I'd be more than happy to teach her for a bit. But I've got a piano, I've got her a keyboard recently, so let's see if she starts smashing it. Yeah, but she's a creative person, so I think if she put her mind to anything that's on a creative field, she'll do well at.
Yeah. So what's the long-term plan for Martin to Smoove? You got anything else kind of on the side away from your gigs?
Music. Yeah, me and my friend called Luke. I don't know if you met him, Luke Manchester, Beanie Presents. He's like a producer, but we started up a company where we supply DJs to venues, and We put DJs into places, and we also supply music playlists for like restaurants and things like that. So people that work in restaurants may not necessarily know what's right to play musically for their clientele or their customers. So we go in there and supply good playlists and stuff like that. So I like to concentrate on that a bit more. Carry on the DJing until I get bored of it. Invest money in the right things and just be happy, I guess, man. That's all it is. Maybe I'll move up to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
No, real. Like, me and Abel will be talking about it recently. I don't know if it'll be anything soon. I'll do soon, but I'd never say never to that. Like, I think the way you guys are raised up there, like, out of all the DJs, you guys, like people like you, Prospect, Home Alone, like the Scottish people are just cool, man. Like, you're so laid back. Like, to organise this today, I said, I've got to do a few things. And you're like, oh, no bother, mate, whatever. and then I call you up today. I'm like, do you want to do it now? I goes, yeah, whatever. You're just like, people in Scotland are cool. I'm very much... What's
your thoughts of Shanghai and becoming, obviously you're a bi-monthly resident with us now, so...
Yeah. I love it, man. I love George. I love you. I love Major as well. Like, it's just nice. It's just an easy gig, man. And like working with good. Do you know what? I love watching good DJs as well. So like stuff that you do, I might steal some of your ideas and then do the same mix there in London. But yeah, no, I love it. I love it. George is super cool, and it's a good excuse for April and her mates to all get together and we go out. Like last time we did, it was good. Like sometimes I bring a friend up there, like Baha. Yeah, that was a crazy one.
I seen him on Rob's live.
Yeah, no. But the nightlife up there, like places like Edinburgh and I'd say Edinburgh and Newcastle are probably the best places to go out in the UK. I'd say. Yeah, for sure. You guys, like, everyone thinks London's great, and London is good because you might get like a party where people, like some celebrities or someone will go into, or things like that, and you get a lot more performances and things like that. But we're also sport for choice, so our attitude to partying is probably not as fun and free-flowing as you guys up there.
Yeah, and obviously you've got your own Hollaback night that runs now weekly on a Friday night.
Which you played at.
Which I played it, and it was awesome, like such a cool venue.
Oh, you loved it, right? Yeah, man, we're lucky.
Is that a guy from Mumford & Sons that owns that venue, did you tell me?
Yeah, Ben from Mumford & Sons owns O'Meara, which is an amazing venue. Like, I'm really, like, luckily, like, the people that I work with, like Hanif and Louis, they're really about putting on good events at good venues. And O'Meara is definitely one of those venues, man. It's a cool, you know what it's like. Even if there's 200 people or 600 people in there, it's a good party. That room is wicked. The stage is wicked.
It's more
you can
like
have a little party,
like a proper concert venue rather than a nightclub. It's like you're on stage and
nice.
The whole place is a dance floor, pretty much. Yeah,
and it's not pretentious. Like it's cool, and they've got another venue in King's Cross as well, just opened up like in February, and I want to do something there at some point. But yeah, I love that. I love that venue. I did a party recently with Romesh for Hip Hop Save My Valentine's. And we did a fancy dress party, and I love all the stuff like that. So,
yeah,
probably do a few more things like that.
Yeah, I do.
What about you? What's your plan? Are you full time in DJ now, Murdy?
No, I cut down quite a bit. So I'm only doing over the weekends now. So obviously I've still
you cut back from DJing.
Yeah, I used to do maybe 4 or 5 nights a week, but I made a few changes. So now I'm just doing kind of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, alternate days over the weekends and stuff. So I think it's better for me.
So how do you find that? When you were working 5 days a week and you had to do like some of the student nights, how did you find your love for the job of DJing had changed from when you were doing it like 1 or 2 nights a week? Did it feel like a job?
Yeah, I think it did, to be honest. Probably at the start it was good. But then I was doing nights in Edinburgh, and I was doing a night in Aberdeen every week, which I used to, like, I would drive there on my own, stay in the hotel, drive home, and then I would do the Friday.
People think that's great, don't they?
Yeah, people think that's good, but when you're doing it on your own stuff, it's quite, it is a bit lonely, like.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. Like, and you know, the moment And everyone asked me, like, oh, when do you think you'll stop DJing? And I said, the moment when it starts feeling like a job and I don't enjoy it. So you probably did the same thing, like you cut back so you can still enjoy it.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously I've spent weekends with you in London, and like you can literally be playing Nighttown during the day, and then you're doing a gig on the evening. You were up on the Sunday and done like a pool party, and then you go off to a beefer straight after it. And I'm like, this is just like some life. Like I don't know how you can manage it.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, people only ever see the good bits on Instagram, don't they? Like you've been there when we did a night when I'd be doing the Rob Percy night, and like the numbers weren't busy, so I'd go out and flyer on the street. But people will be like, I'd never do that. And yeah, I get it. Some people, it's not for them. They don't want to do it. But like for me, it's by any means necessary. You just got to make it work, man. Like,
but that's the first time I've never seen a DJ do that before.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've given out flyers. I could have a degree in giving out flyers. But people don't know that. Like people just think it's a success. Oh, you're working with Eve, or you're touring with Ramesh, or you played for U2's after party. But they don't understand how many hours went into me to get into even that position to be in there, man. Like it's just like but and I think at the time giving out flyers is necessary for a night, man. I mean, it's not so important now because social media can do all of that for you, but back then it was important.
I still think you play it down a little bit. Like you always say, you only see the good bits on Instagram, but I actually think you do a lot of gigs that you don't put on Instagram, that are even big gigs like stuff in Ibiza or like the History Festival. Like you don't always talk about everything, do you?
No, I don't. I'll put it on my stories, but for me, Instagram, like my pictures, I want it to be like, I want them to be good quality pictures or good quality videos. Like if History, had I known what History, you were there for the History set, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a funny story about that set. But like, had I got a videographer to do it with me, I would have put that video up because I didn't realize how big a deal that gig was. Like me and Andy didn't even realize about it until like Thursday. Oh, Andy, we've got this History thing on Saturday, and I didn't even know it sold out. And then when we went there, the DJ before us was good. It wasn't that busy, and then it went really busy. Oh, that was a Sunday, but yeah. And then I didn't realize how big. If we were to do it again, I'd get a videographer for it. But that was a wicked festival. But you were there on the Saturday, weren't you?
Was it the Saturday or the Sunday?
Yeah, I think you were the Saturday.
We've done the whole back on the Friday and then on the Saturday. Yeah.
And so at Ministry, one of the technicians, before they left, they edited one of my tracks that they knew I was going to play. So it's Jay-Z, Paris, and Kanye. And like they changed it. So I mixed it. And then about 40 seconds into it, it went to Scatman by and I'm in the middle of a festival. It's wall to wall of people, so it must be like 5,000 people. And then it went into Scatman, John. So I could be like, yeah. And like I had Brendan Carter, the MC, he was MCing for me, and he's like tapes MC, and he's super. He looks like Travis Scott. He gets everyone turned up, and like he's there on stage going, "That shit great," and then it'll be like, "Ba bo beer bo bibbidi ba." Scat man. I'm like, oh man, it was.
He never knew that was going to happen either.
No, I didn't, and like I was away from the decks when it happened. I was, so I had to. I thought something had gone wrong in my monitors. I thought there's no way that could have happened, and then I just quickly changed it. But do you know what? I spoke to Brendan afterwards. He goes, "I thought you did that on purpose." I go, "No, I would never play Scatman." And like, he goes, "Well, it went down pretty well." But yeah. Like
that was a super like dope festival. Actually, we were so hungover when we woke up because we had the holiday the night before. And
you and your friend, weren't you?
Yeah, me and my mate Robbo, and like the weather was a bit shit, and we were like, maybe we'll just no bother. Like,
it's a lovely crowd, wasn't it?
What was that?
It was a lovely crowd. It wasn't like it was just a mix of everyone, and it was really nice music.
Yeah, I was so surprised by it. It was much better than what I was expecting it to be. Like. It wasn't like a huge festival, but it was like a nice size, good.
Like 10,000 people or something.
Great music, like it was class. We absolutely loved it, and we ended up steaming again. It was so good.
Yeah, it was wicked. It was wicked. And I remember that evening I had to go and DJ again. So it's just like gig. Yeah, it's tiring. Some, like you say, some days are super, super busy, man. So like, that's why I'm not complaining about the lockdown, man.
Yeah.
Like, one, it's essential to keep people safe and away from the virus. And B, I'm actually enjoying having some time off, man.
We need a Martin to Smoove lockdown mix, I feel.
A lockdown mix. Do you know what? One thing I love about this, like you've been seeing all the DJs streaming, is like we're not all playing like Chris Brown Loyal, or like we're not playing. Although Loyal is a great song, but like we're not reaching for the regular tracks that we have to reach for in the clubs. People going a bit deeper, throwing some old school. Like G2's doing that old school LimeWire mix tonight. I'm sure that'll be brilliant. So people are going a bit deeper, which is cool. Yeah. I think. What are you doing to stream? Why isn't Tipsy doing a stream?
Why what?
Why isn't Tipsy doing a stream or something?
I don't know. We actually spoke about it, but nothing's kind of happened yet. I've tried to do a couple of little ones on Instagram, but
I loved your Facebook one, by the way. Yours with Ewan was really good. Yeah, man.
He's got everything set up. Like, he's got all the cables. He's got the like multiple laptops with everything like properly set up to go. So
he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. I was so lucky. Like, I didn't realize how good at a job he is at his job, man. Like, at my wedding, he absolutely tore that up, man. Like he was a great host. I will go as far as saying he's probably one of the best wedding DJs in the country. Like, he's safe as houses. Anything that's like commercial music wise, Ewan is the guy, man. Like, and he's just got a great attitude. He's so likable. Innit, man? Like, it's you Scottish people, innit, man? You
just love us.
You're likable motherfuckers. What?
You love the Scots.
No, I do, man. Like, people say hello to each other in the street, man. People are nice to each other, and yeah, I do love Scotland. I do. I just hate your weather, man. It's cold up there, and it's
yeah, it's not the best, to be honest. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, mate. And
right, thanks for having me, man, and thanks for doing it last minute, even though I muck you around with times. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Murdy. When I do a podcast, I'm going to interview you, and you're going to return the favour, yeah?
And once everything's back to normal, I'll be coming to London for another holiday, and you'll be at Shanghai as soon as...
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. We'll do it. Give my regards to everyone at the Shanghai club, and much love to George and all the team, man.
I will do. Right.
Thanks, Murdy. Stay safe out here, bro.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.